It's Ash from Super Videos, back for another video for the Walking Dead universe. In this video, we're going to be taking a look at a recent interview that Norman Reedus did on Jimmy Fallon, where he talked about the final season and also his new spin-off, which is going to take place in Europe, France most likely. But there are two things that Norman Reedus does tease at, which is extremely interesting. Obviously, we know that this spin-off was originally supposed to be a Daryl and Carol spin-off, but because of commitments that Melissa McBride had, she was unable to relocate to Europe, which is where they're going to film, in order to film for this series. So because of that, she dropped out. And so now it's a spin-off with Daryl Dixon alone. But Norman Reedus does tease that Melissa McBride will, in some capacity, at some point in the future, join him. So that's extremely interesting. There's also a tease that we might see other types of reunions in this spin-off. So stay tuned. We'll be back to break it all down. Alright, as always, before we jump into this, smash that like button, subscribe to join our community, and press the bell to be notified when I upload on the channel. With that said, let's just dive right into it. So first, I'm going to play the clip and then talk a little bit about what Norman Reedus mentions in the interview.
I want to talk about The Walking Dead. I know you just finished filming the final episodes. They're going to air this fall. How was it the last day on set? Was it emotional?
Yeah, there was a lot of drinking. There was confetti cannons.
Confetti cannons are good, yeah.
Yeah, and then, they hand me the mic, and I don't know. It sort of felt surreal. And then a friend of mine, Jess, she taught me a phrase: "Is the juice worth the squeeze?" And I love that phrase. And I kind of said it to the group. I was like, the Walking Dead juice has always been worth the squeeze. And I realized how perverted that sounded.
No, but I understand that.
You know what I mean?
Was the juice worth the squeeze?
Is the juice worth the squeeze?
It's a lot of work to do these shows.
Oh my God, it's a ton.
And you've been on for, was it 11 seasons now or something?
11 seasons, 12 years we've been on. 12 years, 11 seasons.
Yeah, wow.
And this last season too was a full year, which was exhausting.
Yeah.
And you're in the woods and you're crying, you're killing, and you're screaming and fighting. You've seen the show. It's
yeah, exactly.
It's not Succession where you're like, on a yacht having caviar, reading squirrels and killing each other.
Yeah, that would be a little disappointing if that was you. This is
Succession,
you.
Call me, by the way. Yeah.
This is you right here on your first episode when Daryl, November, you survived.
Yeah.
It's also been announced that you're going to have a spin-off series.
Before we get to the spin-off part, obviously not much to talk about in that first part. Obviously we knew that they had finished filming, so that's not really news at this point. Also, we did know that they were kind of on and off filming for a full year because the last season was extended. But that's pretty much everything as far as that first part of his conversation. Now let's hear him talk about his spin-off and the teasers that he gives us.
Yeah.
It's also been announced that you're going to have a spin-off series.
Yeah.
Daryl is having a spin-off series. Do you know anything about that? Do you have any details?
Yeah, I know it's going to be much different than the show. It was originally Carol and I, Melissa McBride and I.
Yeah.
And she's taken time off. 12 years is a grueling schedule, and she wanted to take some time off, so she's doing that. And she deserves it. And, they kind of came to me, and I imagine those characters are going to meet back up at some point.
So, before I let him finish that, I think there's two ways it could go. Either he's saying that they're going to link back together at some point, is just a way to kind of keep the door open for a time when Melissa McBride can actually join him in the spin-off. Or he might be saying that after the spin-off, they're going to reunite and join back together, possibly in the movies. There's another way it could go, which is that it's not accurate and he's just saying it for the sake of saying it, but I doubt it. I think at some point Carol will actually link up with Daryl again. It's just a matter of whether that's going to be in the spin-off or whether it's going to be after the spin-off, either in the movies or possibly something else after this spin-off that they already announced and will be doing in Europe.
And it might even meet up with some other characters down the road.
I mean,
Yeah.
So when he says he might even meet up with other characters, that's obviously hinting that he might meet up with other characters, obviously. But I think it's going to be either someone connected to the CRM story, so either Jadis herself or even Rick, possibly. Although I don't think it makes sense for us to see Rick in the spin-off. I mean, if you're doing the movies, then it makes absolutely no sense to bring Rick back in a spin-off like this. Like the final season, I kind of get it why they brought him back or will most likely bring him back, but it doesn't make sense to bring him in to a spin-off before his movie, you know what I mean? So that's a little bit of a stretch, but there is another possibility, which I'm going to talk about in just a little bit.
Yeah,
So-
all right, so good.
But, you know, she's taking time off, and in the meantime, they're like, hey, you wanna go on a mission? And I'm like, yeah, let's go.
Yeah, let's do it.
That was important. They asked, do you want to go on a mission? So that means whatever Daryl is going to be doing is some sort of a mission. He's not just going out there for the sake of going out there. He doesn't just magically leave the United States and end up in Europe. He's going there for some sort of mission. And I'm assuming that more likely than not, this mission has to do with Civic Republic military in some way, shape, or form. But obviously, they could do something slightly different, but I think it would just oversaturate the story. Let's not bring in an additional large story when we already have a large story like the Civic Republic, you know? And also, whatever this mission is, I doubt any other story than the CRM story will realistically put Daryl in a position where he can actually go from the United States to Europe. But that's pretty much everything that he talked about. But I do want to mention another possibility. Obviously, in the comics, we do meet up with Rick Grimes' brother, Jeffrey Grimes, in Spain, Barcelona. So it's entirely possible that they're gonna bring Jeffrey Grimes into the TV adaptation, but he'll end up in maybe Paris, France, instead of Barcelona, Spain. And we might see a scenario where Daryl runs into Jeffrey Grimes. And this might be exactly what Norman Reedus said about meeting up with other characters. He could be referring to Jeffrey Grimes, Rick Grimes' brother. Obviously, that's more speculation. There isn't any hard proof for it at this point. But that's pretty much everything I wanted to talk about in this video. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, smash that like button, subscribe to join our community, and press the bell to be notified when I upload on the channel. That's it for this video. See you next time for another super video.